Welcome, everybody. So, today we're going to talk about how you can calm your mind in the moment. Something happened today. Somebody said something. Something happened at work. Something happened at home. Something happened, and your mind is going 1,000 miles an hour. How do you bring it back down? Well, over time, I had the same issue. And what I did is I developed this method and I kind of practice this a lot. So when crap hits the fan, I am ready to go. Because what happens is I can learn all the best techniques in the world, but if I don't practice it, if it's not muscle memory, I'm going to forget about it. And in the moment, I'm just going to be stuck in the moment. So this method is about you getting off the hamster wheel, you getting off that moment so you can calm your mind down. Think better thoughts instead of those repetitive thoughts that are destructive. They don't bring any good in your life. So as always, we're going to start with a wonderful quote by Wayne Dyer. If you change the way you look at things, the things you look at change. Wayne Dyer. And it's such a simple thing. Oh, if you change the way you look at things, the things you look at change. Yeah, been told about that a million times, right? But it's a very, very deep thing. I want you to think about this. Your life is like a container, right? It's the thoughts you think about create the outside of the container, create the shape of that container, and the fluid inside is actual life. So whatever the outside shape is of that container, the fluid's going to take that shape. So the thoughts you think about are going to be your life. It's that simple. It is such a simple concept, and once you get your head around it, it changes your life. Think about that. Something happened. Something that is not positive happened in your life. You can look at it as, oh, that's terrible. It happened to me. It always happens to me. I just have bad luck. Or you can look at it as this is a learning experience. It's an obstacle. And as Ryan Holiday says, obstacle is the way. So what if you think about it that way? What if you think about those obstacles as challenges, opportunities for you to grow? That simple mindset will take you from a defensive position to an offensive position. And you know what? Think about it. The times you were in offensive, you felt great. And the times you were in defensive, you felt afraid, fear, scared. So just that simple concept can change the way you look at things. So I call this the BUS method. The B stands for bait and switch. The U stands for universal slingshot. And the S stands for sensory meditation. And this is something you're going to practice each and every day. Because if you don't practice, you're going to forget about it. Because think about how many great tips you have heard on YouTube. How many of those you remember? How many of those you practice? But if you practice these on consistently basis, you will be amazed at how much positive difference they create in your lives. So the first thing in bait and switch is understanding our brains. So it's easy to kind of say, oh, you know what, just stop thinking about it. Just stop thinking about it. But let me ask you, how easy is it actually to stop thinking about stuff? It's not. Your brain doesn't have an on and off switch for it to just stop thinking. It doesn't work that way. So think about your brain as a nuclear power plant. It creates the energy. It has the energy to think the thoughts. And especially when you have those repetitive thoughts, those energies amplify. And it's a terrible thing to say, oh, just stop thinking, because you can't. You can't just turn off a nuclear power plant. There's a process. There's a procedure you have to follow. Same goes for your brain. You're thinking those thoughts. You're on a hamster wheel. How do you switch? And that's what we're talking about here. Because just thinking, oh, I'm going to stop thinking, it's never going to work. You have to give it something else. You have to do a swap. What you got to do is you have this thought in your mind that's going on a hamster wheel. Consistently you're thinking about it, getting angry, whatever the emotions you're going through. But if you swap it with something else, the result's going to be a little different. And that's what I call this the brain chew. Because especially you're in the moment, it needs something to chew on. So give it something to chew on. What do I mean by chew? My dog, a wonderful dog, loved that dog to death, and he had this habit of chewing wires. And I could try numerous things that never worked. But one thing did work is buying him toys that he can chew on. And what he did is he moved his habit of chewing off wires to chewing his toys. A simple swap. So give your brain something to chew on. Some other thoughts. Maybe a mantra. Maybe something else that you can think about. Right? It could be something simple as, like, to me, when difficult times arise, the first reaction of my brain is, oh, this is terrible, blah, 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 because it's the default thing. Then my other habits kick in real quick and they say, no, obstacles the way. So when stuff's getting hard, I keep telling myself, obstacles the way, obstacles the way. That's something that Ryan Holiday said. And that keeps me, instead of going in a panic mode, to more of like a offensive mode. So give it something else to think about. But before you do that, you need to get your mind ready. So what I usually do is when I'm in the moment, when I catch myself, because a lot of times it's not easy to catch yourself, but when I catch myself, I do this 4x4x4 box breathing method. And it's a wonderful method, and I don't remember who created this, but it's a wonderful method that I practice every day. I practice even when I'm in a good mood. I practice it, for example, when I'm driving, because usually when I'm driving, I don't have any radio or anything going on. I'm just practicing this method, so it becomes muscle memory. So it kicks in when crap is hitting the fan. So what the box breathing method is you breathe in, count to 4, you hold your breath, you count to 4, you exhale, and you're counting to 4 internally, and then you hold your breath and you count to 4. And you keep on doing that. What happens is going to take your brain off those excessive thoughts to the counting. And just that little shift in the track will change the way you're feeling. But this needs to be a habit, so you can catch yourself and you can do it in the moment. And as we discussed earlier, try a new mantra. Like me, when I was kind of thinking about this method, on my hand, I wrote down a mantra. Obstacles the way. I'm a solution finder. Whatever that is, whatever I think I might need in the moment, the permanent marker on my hand, both hands. Because I really don't care what other people think about. Right? They like, a lot of times I'll put it on, people will be like, oh, what's on your hand? I'm like, oh, that's something for me. That doesn't concern you. So it's important not to care about other people. It's important to care about yourself. Write a mantra where you can look at it, remind yourself, because it's very important. You can learn these great techniques, but we forget in the moment. We forget when crap is hitting the fan. The second thing we're going to talk about is a universal slingshot. And this is a wonderful technique when you're in the hamster wheel. We all, from personal experience, know that thoughts have a way of getting obsessive, right? And they keep on nagging at you, they keep on getting you angry, they keep on creating and elevating that anxiety. But the first couple questions I ask myself when I catch myself is, have I learned anything from this? Crap hit the fan, my mind's going obsessive, I'm asking myself questions. Have I learned anything from it? Second, is this worth my time? Is it worth my precious time that I have? And most often, it's not. So if I can question those thoughts, I can kind of get off that hamster wheel. And then I'm going to keep asking myself, hey, have I thought about this before? Did it bring any positive results last time? And often, when I ask those questions, it gives me the opportunity to get off the hamster wheel. The reason we were asking these questions is to kind of detach yourself from those thoughts. To detach yourself, because these thoughts have a tendency of kind of sticking in your brain. They just kind of latch on. So you got to ask those questions. You got to do those breathing techniques to kind of loosen that grip before you can do that slingshot. So what the slingshot is this. I vividly imagine, in as much detail as I can, is combining a ball of those thoughts with my hands. I get those thoughts, like, I don't know if you watch Harry Potter. And in Harry Potter, they take these wands, they put it on your brain, and they take these memories out, and you can see that visual effect, right? And that's what I do when I'm creating this ball. I create this visual effect of this thought actually coming out of my brain, and I mush them together. I just kind of make a ball out of it, and it's important to create that visualization. because the more time you can spend not thinking about that thought, the less of a grip it's gonna have on your brain. So I'm vividly thinking about this, and then I throw that ball of all those thoughts and I imagine it leaving my hand. I imagine it leaving my house. I imagine it leaving the United States. I imagine it leaving Earth. And then I imagine it leaving all these planets in vivid detail. And it's amazing what it can do to those thoughts. So, and sometimes the one time is not going to do it. You got to keep on doing it. Like, there's been times when I have to do it like 6 to 8 times for me to kind of get off that hamster wheel, to loosen that grip of that thought. So keep on trying. This has to be a habit. Nothing comes right away. So make it a habit. Keep on doing it. Try the slingshot. That's one of the best techniques I have learned. The best techniques I have applied over time. So far, this is what we've learned. We've learned the bait and switch method, understanding that our brain is a nuclear power plant. It needs something else to chew on. Second thing we've learned is the universal slingshot. Hey, we can create a ball of it with vivid imagination and throw it across the world, across the universe. Go imagine it going past the Milky Way. Whatever gets you off that hamster wheel and whatever helps you loosen that death grip of that thought. And the third thing is sensory meditation. So once you know about the bait and switch, you've done the universal slingshot, you can try sensory meditation. Now, meditation is an interesting thing because when I learned about meditation, I discounted it because I told myself it's never going to work for me. I'm not a monk, and I discounted it for a long, long time. And my life was not a place where I wanted it. So I'm like, you know what? Why not try it for 30 days? And I forced myself, and I know meditation is not something you should be forced upon, but I forced myself to do it, and it kind of changed my life. Now I don't have to force myself because I look at my meditation as my medication. Because if I was not on meditation and I wasn't doing it consistently basis every morning or every time I can find it, or when I am doing some mundane chore, I would be on medication because my mind would go a million miles an hour. So don't discount it. Try it, set a goal. I'm going to try it for 21 days and 30 days and see what it does for you. There's a lot of great apps out there for meditation, such as Headspace, Calm, which I personally use. I'm not sponsored by them, but it's something just as personally used. So give it a try. It's better than a million other crappy things out there. So we know the bait and switch, universal slingshot, we got now sensory meditation. Now this is one of the things that I use right after the slingshot, in where I have a analog clock. If you don't, pull one on the web or whatever on your phone and just observe the second hand of the analog clock. You're not observing the time. You're not observing anything else except the second hand. All you're looking at is the movement of the second hand. That's it for a couple minutes. And what it will do, it will actually get your mind off those obsessive thoughts. And all this only takes a few minutes. Think about that. Instead of you obsessing about a thought for hours, days, if you try this for minutes, you can get off that hamster wheel. So try the second hand method. Or you can try the nature sound. So if you have YouTube, open YouTube and go to any nature sound and turn that nature sound up, maybe around 50-60% volume, and just focus on one sound. So there's nature sounds going on. There's rain, birds, whatever. Focus on maybe just the rain, just the bird, and that is all you're focusing on. You're not thinking about what it sounds like. You're just trying to focus on one thing at a time. And this water observe method, I have also tried it, works great, is turning a tap on and just observing the water, the way it's running, the different shape the water takes when it comes out of the tap. In just a minute or two, you'll be amazed the sound of it, and you're just focusing on it. It does amazing things. And then the optical illusion sensory meditation, and it is amazing what it can do, because the more, I want you to just focus on this, the more you're going to focus on this, the more your mind's going to get off other thing, and it's going to be just focus on this image. And the whole goal of everything here is to get you off that hamster wheel, for you to focus on something productive. And just this optical illusion, it will trick your mind into thinking about the illusion instead of the thought. And that's all you're doing. You're tricking your mind into thinking something else instead of that destructive thought you have. And when you start thinking about something else, it will start bringing calm in your brain. That's the whole goal of this. There's nothing special, about this. So give it a try. Now, my recommendation would be this, is try to get a habit of good practice. Because it's easy to watch a million YouTube videos. I've done it. There's nothing special about me. I've done it. And then, oh, this is a cool technique. And you're like, oh, you feel so cool knowing that technique. Well, you never apply it. And when shit hits the fan, that's right, dead silence, because you haven't practiced it. So this is how I practice good techniques that I learned. So when I started this bus method, I put BUS on my hands for 3 weeks with the permanent marker. So I can look at it every time. It reminds me. Now, if, hey, you don't want to put it on your hand, put it as a notification on your calendar, and which reminds you 3 times a day. So put an all-day notification, bus method. Have it notify you 3 times a day, morning, mid-afternoon, and night. So you keep that in mind and you keep practicing it. Because that's what it comes down to. We all want this secret sauce, but there isn't no secret sauce. It's all about habits. It's all about practice. And it's easy for millions of people to say, oh yeah, this is the secret you gotta follow. And I've done that. I've followed, one thing to the other. But when I actually sat down and practiced, when I actually sat down and created a habit of it, that's when it started making a difference. And none of us want to hear that. None of us want to hear, oh, you have to practice and it's going to take time. Because that's not what our brain is designed to do. It wants instant gratification. It wants instant results. And that's why there's millions of other people out there selling crap, and it sells and it doesn't work, but it still sells because we want that instant gratification. But take a step back. Think about it. Maybe it's time to kind of dig down and work on yourself, because you yourself are a full-time project, and nothing is more important in this world than your life. So why not start putting some effort and time in our own lives? And what I also do is I'm going to go ahead and create this next 2 minutes of summary for you in the last 2 minutes of the video. If you're satisfied with this, you can stop now. But these last 2 minutes of the video, I'm going to go through everything real quick, and I'm going to timestamp it. That way you can put that on your calendar as well to kind of give you a reminder. Okay? So quick summary of the bus method. Bait and switch. Understand your brain needs something to chew on. You can't just turn it off. So try a mantra. Try something that brings you and gets you off the hamster wheel, brings you a little bit of peace. The universal slingshot. Imagine making a ball of these obsessive thoughts and imagine them vividly leaving your hand, your house, the earth, and the universe, all the way out of the Milky Way. Whatever you need to imagine to get you off that hamster wheel. Third, sensory meditation. Try focusing on the second hand for a couple minutes. Try focusing on something that's except that obsessive thought. Hopefully this video helped you a little bit. As always, the mind map of this video is gonna be in the link in the description below. Like, subscribe, and I'm gonna see you in the next video. Have a great day. Bye bye.